Mike.
Okay.
And my last name is Ritchie, Ritchie. President of Comerica Bank, Michigan.
And you said you've been...
You know, when I think about coaching, I think about management. I use the two words synonymously. You know, I think you can't be a manager and not a coach. And it's one of the things that I always look forward to when I became a manager originally. In fact, it's one of the things I talk to people about when they come in and tell me, I want to be a manager. And I say to them, tell me why you want to be a manager. If I don't hear them saying things around coaching, then I really wonder if they want to be a manager. You know, because I think coaching is one of the noble things that a manager does. I mean, a coach helps their team get better, helps individuals that work for them become better at their jobs, happier in their jobs, more satisfied with what they're doing every day, gives them a sense of mission, gives them a sense of purpose. That's what a coach does. And it's one of the things that, as a manager, should give you true joy to come in every day. You know, I think I'll go back a little bit and just talk about times that I've coached, you know, times for me that have worked well. You know, and I like coaching real time. I like during an actual event happening to use those as the times where you can make the deepest impact on somebody. So as an example, when we're going out, and many times in corporate banking, we have to have really difficult conversations with our customers. We have to try to get them to change their mindsets from here and move all the way over to here. And it could be on something like pricing, it could be on estate planning, sometimes which is uncomfortable people to talk about. It could be that their business is experiencing trouble and we have to come in and provide sort of the tough love. And those are conversations that many relationship managers really don't look forward to doing. So there's your opportunity then to sit there and work with that banker to talk about, okay, how are we going to go about preparing for this? What are we going to say? How are we going to frame it in their way of thinking, in their language, so that they can see that we have their best interests at heart? And so you do a lot of preparation. You know, I think that's a huge key. And then when you're in the meeting, you should talk about who's going to do what in the meeting. And then when it's over, you debrief. What went well? What didn't go well? If there's any uh-oh moments, that didn't come off right. Sometimes those are good too, because then you can reflect back to say, you know, when I was a less experienced RM, I made that exact same mistake and I fixed it in this way, and they came out and appreciated me even more. And so there's a lot of opportunities pre, during, and post to really teach people how to get better. I had some very great advice given to me at a young age that had helped me get to where I am today. And I've always had the approach of, I want to get advice. You know, the coach also needs to have a player that wants to get coached, you know, and so I always wanted to be coached. And I had some people on several occasions pull me aside. One of the key things in lending, in the lending side of business, is have a great relationship with the credit department. You know, because I loved developing new business, but when you're developing new business, if you don't see the value in credit, you may successfully book a couple deals, but you're going to quickly become frustrated because everything is going to become a grind. You have to have those building blocks of trust built with your credit peers early on, and every day have a little bit more of that sort of that relationship capital built. Dave Marvin, who works with us now, gave me that advice right when I started in the bank, and it was one of the best pieces of advice I ever had. Mm-hmm. Well, I think that we have to recognize when we're working on something that we can't possibly be the expert in everything. You know, you have to recognize when you need help. Now, it could be that we need help from outside the company. Sometimes we have to bring in third-party help to overlay onto a situation. And a lot of our bankers can relate to that when a customer is, let's say, is in extreme crisis, we have to bring a consultant in. But on the more positive side of things, when you have a borrower, let's say, that's going through some real challenging times with their estate or with their family, what can we do? Well, we have people inside of our company in our wealth management area that deal with that every day. But a banker on the commercial side may not see that more than once every 3 years. So we bring in our experts, they come in, and we work on that as a team together. You know, when I look at the commercial side of our business and I think about how well we know our customers and what an opportunity we have, because we know the people, we know their family, we know their estates, we know how they spend. We know how much money their company makes. We know how much money the company is worth. We know how old they are. So we have a lot of knowledge that if we step back and we think about it, now you have an opportunity to bring in a wealth advisor or to bring in an insurance specialist or to bring in many of the other experts that we have in the bank that can play right into what the customer really needs. And then they see then, this person's always thinking about me, and they're not just trying to make a loan to me. They're thinking about me as a whole business, as a whole person. Right. Well, you know, a lot of times there's a fear factor. People, and let's reframe that. Many times, I've worked so hard to develop this relationship, I don't want somebody else to screw it up. You know, so you're concerned that will others provide the same level of service and diligence and passion about the customer as you do, because you've worked so hard to get to where you are. And at some point we need to let go and have a little bit more trust, so that then, you know, it's many times it's uncomfortable to walk through a door that you don't know what's on the other side. And we need to walk through those doors a little bit more, because we have great professionals throughout the company that can actually come in and bring in something and take a relationship level from this level to this level by doing that. Yeah, I think from the standpoint of coaching, there's a few other things I would point out. I think self-awareness is a big deal. I think self-awareness on the part of the coach, and then also hopefully developing self-awareness on the part of your team. You know, so, and then it's the attitude and it's the way you approach it. You know, so as a coach, as a manager, if I'm looking at, goes back to my comment I made earlier, that this should be your primary view of yourself as a manager, as a coach. If you're looking at that activity with dread, well then when you attempt to coach, when you attempt to teach, when you attempt to help people get better, they're going to see that. It's going to reflect them. It's going to reflect itself in your body language. So you need to come at it with, I want to do this. I'm excited to do this. So then when you're excited to do it, you're probably going to come at it with a smile on your face. You're going to come at it with 2 or 3 positives that somebody has done, and then you're going to approach the things that we need to work on with a sense of vision about it. Well, that was great what you did there, but if we can go this way, look at the result we could have. Might even be better, you know. And if you approach it that way, I think it works better. The other thing is, you have to look at your team as whole individuals, just like we talk about with our customers. We need things that are mutually beneficial. We need to look at the client from a 360-degree view. Well, our bankers are 360-degree people. You know, they have lives. They go home at night. You know, they get tired. You know, they have things they care about that weigh on their mind. And they have to know that the manager, the coach, isn't only thinking about them as, can you get 5 more yards for me on the next carry? But they're looking at them, okay, did you get hurt on that last carry? You know, what can I do to help you? What can I do to make you feel better? You know, how are things going? You know, showing some general interest in people and looking at it more as a personal relationship, then I think then engenders that trust to allow the banker to actually receive the coaching. You know, because if I'm always looking at my manager, like my manager only cares about my productivity report, my manager doesn't care about anything other than that, well, you're not going to end up getting great productivity. I think people do need to be coached in different ways. You know, we just got out of a diversity open house here in Comerica Bank Center, and people are unique. I will tell you very honestly, coaching people in different ways is one of the things I've had to learn to do better. It's a struggle because you come at things with your own set of strengths, and so you assume the other person is just like you are, and that they want to get information and receive the information in the exact same way you would want to receive it. And that's not always the case. And that's something that I think as managers we're always trying to learn and how to do that better. But if you sit back and you just pause and then again self-reflect to say what works well with this person and what doesn't. You know, I tried this approach, I tried a direct approach, and that didn't seem to go so well. Or I was very indirect and they didn't get the hint. They would rather have it straight on. You know, people are different. I think formal coaching is important. I personally, as I said earlier, I like real-time coaching better, but I think in terms of making sure that we're always taking a step back, because you do have to sometimes pause, take a step back, cool off, and look at something from a much bigger picture. And formal coaching allows you to do that, especially if it's scheduled. You know, every quarter I know that I'm going to go in and have a meeting with my manager, and we're going to just talk about a broad variety of topics, and it's all going to be about how we can get better together. And so that means the person getting the coaching has to prepare, has to write down thoughts. You have to prepare for the meeting, and so I definitely think there's a huge important place for it. It's not the only thing; it's part of the picture. I have right now, and I've worked on this with my manager, some of you might not know who that is, but I have 4 things that are on our list that we talk about every time we get together, and they're 4 big topics, and they're all personal to me. And they're not necessarily bank topics, but they're different behavioral things or strategies or things around how I can improve. And they're just themes. And we set those themes up last fall, and we have a meeting about every 6 weeks on those themes, and I enjoy it. And what it does is it creates accountability, because, and I've appreciated that, because I know that I'm going to have to get together in 6 weeks and talk about these 4 themes. And you know, honestly, a couple of the themes have nothing to do with the bank. They have to do with, because I picked them. And there are things that I wanted to accomplish in my personal life. And not that you necessarily need to share all those things with your manager. It's, you know, but it's what I chose to do, and it's what I chose to work on. And I think it's actually helping me quite a bit at work every day, because those things are improving.